It's gonna get serious. What are we doing? You know it. Oh, you know that's right. Oh, you know that's right. You know how big this is. And then all of a sudden, consent of the governed. Here we go. Another episode. It's time, once again. Tommy P.
Hey everybody, this is Eric Sully Sullivan and
Tommy P. Patterman.
And we are joined today with Lee from Keep It Fucking Simple Crypto.
Good man, yes.
Ooh.
That's it, keep it fucking simple, yeah. You're the one that said that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that what it
Nobody
is?
uses the F.
Well, it's because
exactly
they lack the testicles to handle that business.
The cojones.
Exactly, man, yeah.
The balls.
Yeah. So we met on a little thing with Satoshi Sean and kind of hit it off, not just because of our love of crypto, but also our love of alcohol, I would say. Yeah.
Alcohol was the main thing. Yeah.
And as I am part Irish but all American, this man is all Irish and world traveled. And look, I mean, look, he's shining everything up and squaring off.
I was trying to get my eyebrows in line, man. Sometimes they're a bit fucking mismatched.
Yeah. So, if anybody doesn't know this cat, I'd love for you to give a nice big introduction, not dick pic, to the whole crowd and say, hey, this is what I am. This is what I do. I like to fuck around with crypto. I like to fuck around with Satoshi Sean all the time. The last
I do. Well, you nailed it, man. Yeah, that's what I like to do.
Is that it? Did I just intro you?
Summed it up right there. Me in a nutshell.
You didn't leave anything for me to say, man.
All right. Well, if there's anything to fill in, it's all you right now.
Well, I think you nailed it. Yeah, I do. I fuck around with crypto a lot. I run my Kifs Crypto YouTube channel. And the whole purpose of that really is just to look at new and up and coming projects. Most of them are shit. I gotta be fair, yeah. But there's a few good ones. So yeah, I do a lot of work with Satoshi Sean, and I would say my main source of income though nowadays is trading crypto and sometimes trading stocks. But it depends on the mood I'm in, you know.
Sometimes.
So that's basically me, yeah. I do a lot of time wasting with Satoshi Sean and other people like you.
Nice. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and you used to do a lot of traveling. And yeah. last time I really talked to you, short of last weekend anyway, you were like in the Arctic or some shit.
Yeah, near Helsinki. Yeah, when is that? Was that in the summertime?
I think so.
It might have been. It was a while ago.
Yeah, so I was in the Arctic then. Yeah, I was at the northern edge of Europe. Yeah, I spent a couple of weeks up there last summer. But usually I'm in Helsinki, Finland. I'm in Liverpool at the moment because I'm a well, I suppose I didn't mention it, but I'm a qualified psychiatric nurse. And so I often come over here just to work, just to get away from the crypto scene, you know, and get away from the madness. Get away from the madness of the crypto scene and go into the madness of humanity.
Yeah. So if
that's where I am here.
If you're a psychiatric nurse, you are attending to some of the best the society has to offer.
The best. And see, this is why me and you hit it off. You remind me of so many people.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right. It makes the most sense. I mean, it truly is the best that society has to offer because they're not, right down that main vein. They're just following their own path and calling it good, right?
They're doing their own thing, man. And that's what I fucking love. You know what I mean?
No, fuck
you
yeah.
know, they don't give a fuck about mainstream anything, society, anything, man. They don't give a fuck. They're the most interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I bet.
And there's people that get classified as crazy that, I mean, they're the sanest people I know, but they just have a different thought process, you know?
Yeah. we're seeing that whittled down into a really shitty way of socially engineering us, aren't we? So anybody that asks a question outside the normal social norms, we're all supposed to end up getting fed some pills by a guy like you, right?
I would have to say
that's exactly the way it's supposed to work. Yeah, you're stigmatized, aren't you?
Look at what's happening now. I mean, look at the fucking witch hunt that we're seeing between the right and left over here, or left and right, I should say.
Oh yeah.
And my God, this is straight up 1984. This is, you can't get any
Straight
more
up, yeah.
Orwellian than this. When you start talking about cleansing, we need to cleanse the America of these people that think differently from us. I mean, dude, when was that like acceptable to say and acceptable to bring up? You know what? When all the freaking when all the Holocaust survivors died off, then they can finally bring up ethnic cleansing again. I mean, this is ridiculous to where we've gone in this country. And the problem
in such a short space of time, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, really, I remember talking to you this summer, and it was like, we can't let this fail, because everybody's looking at America right now. Everybody's looking at the United States and going, you guys can't fucking fail, because you're like the last beacon of, what the Constitution and the flag and the Patriots represent, the last beacon of hope, this last beacon of freedom and freedom for all and not some.
Mm-hmm. Are you on that socialist internet over there in Liverpool? Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, is that free? Is that free?
I'm not. Why is it mine to be? And I know, yeah.
That's a perfect example. This is what socialist infrastructure gets you right there.
Yeah, fantastic internet.
Just fucking with you. You there? I swear to God, this guy has a button to do that. There he is. He was masturbating. He's like, I just got to do this real quick. Oh, there he is.
Let me see. Let me fucking see here. No, nothing's running, man. Should be fine.
I think the biggest part of you being over there in Europe and us having a conversation every once in a while, I'm always trying to get your take, and you're always trying to get my take on this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. What's going on in America? What's going on on the ground over there? And I think both of us have always just sat there and been like, oh no, the entire thing is fucked. But me, I'm like super optimistic, and you're more definitely the pessimist when we have those conversations.
Fuck's all over, man.
What's that?
Game over, man.
It's over, man. It's over.
But you think so? You don't think that the universe will provide and humanity will come out the other side of this, or what?
I think it's going to take a fucking huge reset button.
What kind of reset?
I don't know, man, but I mean, we got to change the way people look at shit. You know what I mean? It's brainwashed city at the moment. And funny that you mentioned, like, I'm always asking you about shit over there, and you asking me about shit. And every time we speak, I always get something out of you that I've not heard, because we get completely different narratives. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even though I do watch, the mainstream US networks, because that's the only ones I get access to. But when I talk to you or Tom or someone, you get a completely different fucking narrative,
So, and that leads us to another important question. So if you're watching things on mainstream, media, corporate media, and do you do the same thing over there that we would do over here? At least what I do, and I counter trade the news, so whatever they're super loud about, I know it's probably not a problem, and they're just trying to push that agenda. Are you counter trading all of those narratives?
Yeah, no, not everything, but yeah, you have to. If you're watching the mainstream fucking news networks and you're not questioning the shit they're putting out there, then what the fuck are you watching them for? I mean, you're following blindly anyway. So why bother watching the fucking news? You know.
Yeah.
But I like to watch them and analyze what kind of shit they're putting out. That's basically why I watch them. You know.
Yeah.
Kind of put it up against the different underground news sources that you look at. It's like, okay, what are these people saying as opposed to these people? And you can straight up, I mean, you can just see the manipulation. You could see them set the narrative every single fucking time. And this brings me up, speaking of time, let's look at that Times article about the fucking election. Jesus H titty fucking Christ. They straight up came out and said they stole the fucking election in mainstream news.
Did you read that at all?
Yes.
No, I was talking to Lee.
Oh, I haven't read that. I heard it, but I haven't read it. No.
Okay, so
Sean mentioned it to me a while back. Yeah.
Just some different verbiage, just a little bit of different verbiage here, but basically we did this for your own good by recruiting, poll workers, big tech, everything. They straight up and said this.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Jonas,
going to wake
you're
up.
welcome.
Yeah.
Dude, they legit, it might as well summary, we fucked you, you're welcome. Like, here's the 100 on the nightstand. Peace. And I'll tell you this, if you want a really good breakdown of it, because I mean we could legit spend hours on that. If you want a really good breakdown, there's this dude that was also in a band. His name is, he goes by Quite Frankly is his podcast, and he does a few times a week, he gets on with Tracy Beans and does something called the Dark to Light podcast. And I love this dude because he's so sarcastic and he's a ridiculously funny cat. And they were talking about this whole article, and I was busting a gut at the way they were like breaking all of this down, because it was exactly that. Like, thank you for getting rid of democracy in the hopes that we could save democracy. We're so glad. Thank you for everything you've done for us. And they did just come out and say it. Like,
that's the problem, man. People buy it. People fucking buy that. My biggest problem at the moment, why don't people fucking think for themselves? I can't get my head around that.
I'll say one thing, that if everybody that studies at least even brief history, right? If you study Pravda media and what would happen throughout Russia, where they have 12 time zones to work with, right? So being communist and taking the whole thing over with 12 time zones is really hard to do, especially when technology wasn't as robust as it is now, right? So robust, yes, wear the hat. So you have to get the whole country to watch TV at the same time every day, right? But all of these people, when Pravda Media came out, that's what it was called, Pravda Media. For an hour or two a day, it would be just the leaders spewing propaganda garbage all day. Well, not all day, but just for that 2 hours every day. And then all of a sudden people would see their dogs, like their neighbors walking their dogs, and nobody would be in their house because that's the only thing that was on TV was just this propaganda. So it was super blatant, right? But you can start picking up on this stuff where there's a lot of people out there that are just out walking their dog right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're not doing the garbage.
There are, but there's also a lot. I mean, you got to realize, man, that, we saw it when we were back in high school. We saw the propaganda machine, we saw the indoctrination, and we obviously rebelled against it. I mean, from the type of music we listen to the types of, to our daily activities. And it definitely spilt over into our adulthood. What do you and I do? It sounds like Lee's the same way. We're independent as much as we can be. I want to see my money before that fucking man takes it away from me. Yeah. Where Absolutely. That's like the last
100%.
Part of freedom that I can actually enjoy. Like I still feel free for the most part. Lately, I haven't. With this crackdown on free speech and all this newspeak shit and everything else that I'm just supposed to fucking accept, but nobody can accept my point of view. There's this freedom for all, not some, and that's what. But my point I was getting to is the reason that people are so complacent with everything that's happening is the fact that when they were in high school, when they were going through grade school, high school, and they fell in line. They were indoctrinated. They were like, this is,
It starts there, man. That's where it
this is
starts.
the way
Yeah.
it's supposed to be. And they jumped right into the system. They went right into college. They got their degree. They got their whatever job to make money to buy. You know, it's like fucking Fight Club. You know, we work jobs we hate to buy shit we don't need. And that's what they fell into. All of a sudden, they're buying, you know, houses they can't afford, cars they can't afford, having 2.6 children, and all the expenses that go along with it. They are now slaves to the debt system, and they're okay with that.
Yeah, this is the key thing, Tommy. They're okay with it. Most of them are okay with it.
Well, are they?
That's all they know.
I think so, man.
They
That's all
bought
they
into
know,
the
yeah.
system because their parents bought into the system. They bought into the same fucking system, and they are okay, you know, living that life. And that's, I guess, fine for them, because, you know, there's my brother talks to me quite a bit about the situation. Like, you know, you put 10 people in a room. One person wants to be a leader. One person wants to be left the fuck alone. And 4 people want to follow somebody, and 4 people want to oppose the 4 people that following that person, that leader. I mean, you should always mistrust anybody that wants to be a leader, but at the same time, you know, using that example, that's society. That's definitely, you know, society in America right now. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
People need somebody to follow.
And is it engineered?
It's totally engineered. I mean, it's engineered since childhood, man. From the shit you watch. I mean, you look at some of these cartoons, even the cartoons we watched, you know, where it was like, this is the way things are, and you have to accept that.
Yeah, I agree, Tommy. Peppa Pig fucked me in my youth, man. You know.
Did you say Peppy
I
Pig?
knew I was on the wrong track with Peppa.
Did you say Peppy Pig?
Peppa Pig, man.
Who the F is a Peppy Pig?
He's got.
You're out of the loop, man. You're not mainstream enough. Get the fuck out of here,
Dude. Apparently not.
It's like Warner Brothers, Rocky and Bullwinkle. You know, it's old school animation when you were a kid. Rocky and Bullwinkle wasn't that bad, I have to say, because I still don't trust the Russians after that. You know, Moose and Squirrel. They're onto something, you know. Some fucking
Tommy,
Russians.
You touched on something.
Trench coats.
You touched on something there. It's interesting, man. You're on about, like, you know, the one aspect of things you can control now is like, to a degree, is your financial freedom. And that's 100% true. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the few things we got left. Hence why, without going into crypto, yes, but hence why crypto is so fucking important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We would all agree with that, but with, you know, and we can touch base on it in a little bit here, but I mean, in my opinion, with on-off ramps and the way things are going, yes, I'm super optimistic, and technology will always win out, because legislation can't work as fast as technology. And that's just a fact, you know, like we will automatically find a way around, you know, whatever problem they give us, because they can't give us problems faster than we can solve them. Right. So that's just the way that works. But as far as you and what you do, like your trading and everything else, I don't want you to give out the secret sauce on how you're living your life, especially in another country, on air for everybody to see. How confident are you? I mean, because we all know that there are pillars in this institution that suck ass, and it's always corrupt, right? So you got medical, you got you know, financial, you have all of these pillars we all know are corrupt. And I know you work in one, and now I just learned, funny enough, that you work in another, which is psychiatric care. So you have 2 of the pillars that you're very well experienced in. Are there any similarities there as far as parallels regarding the corruption that you see from your side of the pond in between the 2? And not necessarily does it seem like there's an overarching agenda and a black hand, but are there any shining lights that you see within either of those that would, you know, help us get to where we need to go? Freedom.
Well, That's a good question. So, with regards to corruption, I think corruption just, I think it just runs through everything. You know, you give a guy power, he's going to fucking get corrupted. That's just the way it is. I always think, I've probably said to you many times, Orwell's statement where, you know, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And that always stuck with me, you know. I think corruption is just one of these things. I don't think you can ever weed it out. But going back to if is there a shining light? I wouldn't say I'm quite negative. I think financially, yeah, that we have options that can get us away from the mainstream. But with regards to psychiatry, or just would say healthcare in general, that's locked in, man. That's locked in. You know, I like
it. Almost
the
seemed
system
like there
that's in
was
place is rock solid.
It almost seemed like there was a little shimmer of hope this last summer when you had people coming out and talking, actually doctors coming out and talking against the medical institution as we know it and how corrupt it is. And for a second there, I thought that, okay, you know, we can expose, you know, the medical industry, we can expose the financial markets, the financial industry, we can expose, you know, the political side of things. And it just seemed like all this shit fucking fell apart, man. It's like we were on this path, you know, to really expose these institutions for what they were. And
well, just look at the GME trade over the last 2 weeks, Tommy. You know, look how that got panned out. And I said to the people at the beginning, this is going to end in tears, and not because fucking Eric's going to say because I'm a negative bastard, but no, I'm usually that negative. But I know that the powers they're up against, and for it to work, you had to keep the people together, and they had to hold the line, right?
Yes.
And there was never going to fucking happen.
Line. And that's the fucking problem. I think what it showed him is that how fragile that, you know, the financial industry actually is, the markets actually are. And all they did was rally a few million people together with not a lot of money to play the same game that these fucking assholes have been playing for decades. You know, they played their 100%. Own game and they beat them. But the problem is they didn't hold the fucking line. And that's the fucking problem with, I would say, the majority of people in this world, but especially in this country, being as overstimulated as we are with having all this access to all this fucking media and all this other shit, is that we can't hold the line when it comes to anything that's important to us.
Well,
we forget about it. I mean, I don't, Sully doesn't. We've been doing this for fucking 20 plus years.
I was actually going to say, are we looking at something where you, and I want to define this because both of you said that the phrase hold the line. Does it, in my opinion, what you guys just said is, do you continue to keep doing that and fucking them over in that certain way as a group organized against another group? Is that holding the line to you? Or is it the 24-hour news cycle getting, you know, all of the, you know, basically just smashing all of the momentum that created? Are you talking about holding the line against the 24-hour news cycle or holding the line against the powers that be as far as the
I'm saying markets? Both, but,
okay, you
know, because I've seen a lot of people that, you know, in the echo chambers that I hang out in, where they just lose faith after a week. I mean, that's the majority of people. They quit paying attention after a certain amount of time. If you take something away from the front of their face, they don't care anymore.
And Lee? Lee,
so I would agree with Tommy. Like, I would agree on both those.
So yeah.
I would agree. I think the problem was
silver. The idea of the silver, like they were going to go after the head of the beast, in my opinion. That's what I was trying to get to. But
you see, did the damage, right? It did the damage.
Yeah.
And when I say hold on, like, I mean, keep pumping the fucking stock. What they should have done is, right, we've done the damage. This one, they fucked up Melbourne Capital. Right, where's the next line? And let's go again. You know, because you can't expect people to be buying into a stock at $500 fucking and say, hold the fucking line.
Right.
That's true. I'm glad they did go after silver, and not only they didn't go after silver ETFs or SLV. They went after physical silver. When that group, the Wall Street Bets guy got together, they were just like, let's physical silver people, get your hands on the physical shit. That split the silver market in two last week. I mean, it took a day for that to happen, for these people to all of a sudden, I mean, run like APMEX and COMEX and all these other places out of silver, physical silver. Now you saw that split in two. So what this is, in my opinion, what this is going to do is expose the liquidity issues we have in the markets. Now, I'm not sure if crypto is going to happen first or if silver is going to happen first. The only thing I'm worried about is you start seeing a big run in, and this is more of crypto and financials, but I think if you start seeing a really big run in as this last big run wasn't a big run, but like you start seeing, Bitcoin run up and hold, above 40,000 plus, you see Litecoin up above $200 plus, where you start seeing a real nice run, a real bull run in the crypto market. People are going to want to, these secondary exchanges, let me rephrase it. These secondary exchanges better hope that people want to cash out in dollars and not actually pull out their fucking Bitcoin, because that's going to show a liquidity crisis in the crypto market. But I'm kind of thinking the silver might happen first because, dude, it took a day of, a few million people just ordering physical silver to actually split that silver market in two. From the physical to the paper to the ETFs.
And your idea, Lee, regarding the, going from GME and then all of a sudden, because one of the narratives out there is that, the AMC stocks and everything else, that would have been the line where they were trying to hold that up, and everybody dropped off of the AMC stocks and everything else. And then everybody started looking at silver. And a lot of people looked at it as if it was some sort of like ploy to get people off the AMC and to go into the silver. I mean, what's yours? I'm closer to Tommy on this one. I think there's no good
I have
way
no doubt.
of going
I have no
about
doubts that.
Go ahead.
I think the silver one was. I know what they did was amazing. I think that was just a fucking monster target to fucking take on.
Yeah.
But silver or GameStop? Silver or GameStop?
Silver. I think the silver one was like just a fucking monster to take on.
Okay,
when they hadn't finished with the GME one yet,
Yeah.
This was the problem. They got spread fucking too thin, and the minute you got onto mainstream media like CNBC and shit like that, and they started talking about it, I think that's when it was just days away from getting fucked, because people started putting out different narratives. Then organized people who were probably invested from, the big banks or whatever, they started putting out different narratives. There was confusion, and it was spread, so the whole thing started to collapse. And then there was people in it for the wrong reasons. There was people in it, and they might have been institutional that were in it from, let's say they got in $80, bought it up, and then brought it down. It's, and they shouldn't have moved on to silver so quickly, I think. But what they did that day showed us if they can get organized and put a shit together, we can actually do some damage, man, and fucking get changed,
Well, do you think that possibly the damage that was done, that was the most important, is to get these people that are rocking the whole derivatives trade system and the futures markets to kind of start sitting there going like, hey, you better shore up your bets, because there's a good chance that we can come for you if we want. I mean, is this a telltale sign of grassroots, haberdashery to just screw over the system, or is this, something else? Curious.
But I think it was that, I think it was like, let's fuck the system. Let's show these guys, that not invincible. But, what they gave them was a warning shot. And I don't think people have gone and shored up their positions. I think maybe some of the institutions that might have, they'd probably be a lot less wary. But I think their approach would be, let's fucking bury these guys.
Yeah.
And we don't have to deal with this again,
Right.
And there is people now holding GME at $400 a share, man.
Dude, And the funny thing was is
That's the
I saw a lot of really cool like things regarding, hey, you know, I'm in this bad situation and this really helped me out, and other people crying on CNBC. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. You know, that's really cool. If we can just not take that big jump to silver, would have made sense. But anyway, we should actually mosey on over to the crypto part of this, because we just started loosely getting into investments here and all of the.
Well, that's dangerous ground for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Maybe. The whole thing is dangerous ground.
I got some questions for you on the crypto.
Drinking on a Sunday.
I think we definitely should move over to that, because I've got just my viewpoints on like swing trading and you know, momentum and volume and everything else, and then looking at particular projects and seeing, you know, buzzwords like DeFi really start to define, like, you know, another, you know, big altcoin run and everything's DeFi. And when you look at these, you know, actual
Fuck DeFi.
but yeah, that's and it's like, you know, everybody's like, well, look at Chainlink. Like, it's a fucking oracle, man. It's an ERC20 oracle. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like what? Why is that so impressive? Like, that doesn't. These things don't impress me, man.